This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, January 2nd show. I provide you the news on everything money, fresh information on market trends and conditions in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with the guests that I have in studio, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, it's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, I'm having a conversation with Barry Bergner with Realogics Sotheby's International Realty, and we're going to talk about relocation. Barry, thank you so much for joining me in studio today.
Yeah, Happy New Year, and thanks for having me.
Happy New Year to you, too. I know I'm excited for a great 2016 that we're going to have here. A little bit about Barry. Barry has 13 years real estate experience and voted best in client satisfaction as published in Seattle Magazine every year since 2005. He's a certified negotiation expert, certified residential specialist, has his Green Realtor designation, and accredited staging professional. And again, we're going to be talking today about relocation and our employment opportunities here in the Seattle area are just unbelievable. And I know personally I do a lot of financing for people that are coming in and relocating. A lot of stuff happening with Amazon. And so when did you start your real estate career, Barry?
I started in 2002, got my license in 2002, and specialized in residential real estate. Mm-hmm.
And what brokerage you currently work with again?
Again, I'm working with Realogics Sotheby's International Realty. I moved over there in 2013. Tremendous, fast-growing company. I was just going to say they're having a lot of growth right now, and I've had a few recently in studio, so it's exciting to see what you guys are doing there. And tell me what sets you aside as far as the brokerage and what you guys are doing differently. You know, Realogics, they are really a publishing company as well as a real estate company. I mean, they have marketing opportunities that most companies don't have. Exclusive opportunities. We have exclusive opportunities with the Puget Sound Business Journal. And the principals of the company, Dean and Stacy Jones, are marketing mavens, and they're constantly coming up with new marketing opportunities that no other company has. And
that's a huge benefit, especially for anybody that's thinking of selling their property, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not that you guys don't work with buyers, because you do, but really being able to set yourself aside on the marketing and what they're doing for you on the seller side is fantastic. So do you work on your own, Barry, or do you work with a team?
I have a partner, Enrico Pozzo, and in 2013 we decided to partner together. We
should have brought him in studio.
I should have.
Yeah.
We started both at the same time in the same brokerage right around 2002.
Okay.
And we think it's a real benefit for our clients. We collaborate. We both have different strengths and weaknesses, and there's always coverage. If one of us is on vacation, if one of us is busy with another client, we've always got somebody there to help the client.
I think those are all important. You're only one person, so you can only do so much. Both of you, as you said, are going to have strengths and weaknesses, and really being able to communicate and talk things out with the two of you. And a partnership is, we all have coworkers and people that we talk with, but it's different when you have a partnership because you're vested in each other's success. And so you're really working together as that team to provide the best service that you can for your clients. So in what ways does that benefit your buyers and sellers, Barry?
Well, again, this is a challenging market. An interesting question that we always get so the market's good, and good for who? In the past year, it's been great for sellers. It's been difficult for buyers, and there's a lot of strategy in the marketplace, and trying to purchase homes and multiple offers,
Yes.
and in real estate, there's always issues and things that come up that you've never experienced before, and so to have somebody to help you strategize, give you different perspective, it's definitely beneficial to the client.
Yeah, and I tell my buyers, the representation that you choose for your realtor on buyer or seller side is so important, especially for the buyers because of the multiple offer scenarios. Really, just being able to, as you said, strategize and come up with a really strong plan to present the best offer. So, what about areas that you work in, Barry?
Well, I'm not a neighborhood specialist. I've worked all over King County. I've worked into North Pierce County occasionally, and worked into South Snohomish County. And that actually works very well for clients relocating into the region that are not familiar with the area at all. I'm comfortable. South King County, East Side, Seattle, and can speak to clients about the differences in the communities.
Perfect. What about buyers and sellers? What's your percentage as far as what you're working with buyers versus sellers?
It's probably 60-40, 60% buyers, 40% sellers, but that changes from year to year.
Of course, so you put a strong focus on both of them.
Yeah, and we think that's it's very important to understand what's going on both sides.
Yes.
When you're a buyer, it helps to be able to think like a seller, to be able to know what a seller's thinking, to be able to strategize, and again, write an offer that is likely to be accepted.
Yes. And so we're talking about relocation. So let's talk about you personally yourself working with buyers that are moving into our area here from another state.
Yeah, so there's going to be basically two types of buyers moving in. There'll be company relocations where they have relocation benefits, and then there'll just be people moving in for a number of different reasons. And one of the recent phenomena is people actually moving to Seattle for the weather.
I know, isn't that crazy? I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, and there are different scenarios, but the biggest issue is most people aren't familiar with the area, and oftentimes, especially if they're moving for work, they haven't had time to explore an area. They certainly don't know the neighborhoods, and they're under a lot of pressure to move quickly, and that can be really challenging for
it can
buyers.
Be challenging. It can be an expensive mistake if you don't allow the time and have the resources to get the information that you need.
Exactly.
What about for you in representing our local buyers here and purchasing real estate, as well as representing, as we're talking about, people that are coming in to our market, new to the area? What's the difference for you in those two different buyers?
There's a lot more. So you're always going to do a buyer intake interview with your clients, and with a buyer coming in from out of the region, there's a lot more going on. Somebody that's already here, typically they know where they want to live or what area they want to live in, and they have a much better idea of what the market conditions are. Somebody coming in from out of state, there's a lot more that they need to know. They need to know, and a lot of that comes out in the interview. We need to know what's important to them. Are schools? Do they have a family? Do they have children? Are schools important to them? Commute. If I get somebody that says, hey, I want a 3,000 square foot home and half an acre within 15 minutes of Seattle.
Yeah.
And we know there's an education, different market conditions and what they're...
A little bit of a reality check, maybe.
What they're used to.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things I always insist on doing is what I'd call an area tour, which is just to, has nothing to do with looking at homes. It's just driving around, taking the client through the neighborhoods, showing them Ballard, showing them downtown Kirkland, Bellevue, and then talking to them about the lifestyle in each community.
Sure. And I would imagine too, in preparation for when they're here, is really being able to plan out and make sure that you've got time, everything that you're going to do while you're in the area. Because it's not like you're here every day.
Exactly.
And really having a strategic plan on when you're going to get things done.
Yeah, lots of times they're here on company time, and they've got appointments that they've got to have to be scheduled around. And so, it is important to make sure, I want the experience to take care of their needs and to make sure that they get what they need. And if it's looking at homes in certain neighborhoods, great. Again, I always want to do that area tour if possible. And there's a lot of communication in there. There's a lot of questions that you get answered, and helps you be able to point them in the right direction. And sometimes purchasing right away isn't the best solution, and renting for certain clients is a better option immediately, so they can, you're talking about spending a lot of money, and to get tied in somewhere where is not the best fit for you can be a real difficult situation for,
and
for a buyer.
And even more so for people relocating. I mean, they're dealing with the same challenge of lack of inventory as well. So I'm sure you're running into a lot of that, to where there is not something available in the area that they need to be. So they don't have no other option but to come here and rent.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And renting is difficult too. But
yes, that's true. Getting housing here is just a challenge no matter how you look at it.
Well, Seattle Times, December 4th issue, Seattle Times says 6,000 people a month in 2015 took up residence in King County, which is a lot of people.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy. What about if somebody's relocating and working through a relocation company with their employer? Do they typically get to choose who they want to work with as far as representation for their realtor and for their lender, or is the company require them to work with their people?
Most relocation companies have real estate brokerages that they have agreements with, and typically they're getting pointed towards one of those.
But is it kind of like a builder? They can choose to work with their people, or they can choose. They're highly encouraged, but they've got an option to choose most of the time, or no? Well,
they can. The relocation company may have, again, agreements with and financial agreements with companies that they get forced with. But sometimes if another broker, if there's a broker that they want to work with, and that broker will agree to whatever terms the relocation company has, the relocation company may allow them to work with that broker.
Got it. So are you seeing in a high percentage of relocations, the companies that are going through have relocation packages to where they're actually taking care of their existing mortgage payment? Or are you finding that they can buy without going contingent? What's happening there?
What I've seen and experienced is that they will most often have to sell their home if they have to sell a home. That once they get into a contract, then the relocation company will release their money early. So instead of having to wait until closing, they'll get their money earlier, so that will help them be able to purchase in the new area. It is buying contingent is totally dependent on market conditions.
Yes, of course.
And the current market conditions where inventory is so low, contingent offers are very, very difficult. A home would have to be on the market for quite a bit of time, most likely for a seller to consider accepting a contingent offer.
Yeah. So it might be a good idea, before accepting a relocation package with your company, if you're, listening right now in this process, reach out and talk to a local representative. And if you're listening to the show online, you're moving here to Seattle, I've got one right in studio here, and find out some of the questions and things that you need to be looking at through your relocation package to make sure that everything is set up the way you need it to be most successful. And if not, at least you're planning ahead what you need to do. In common mistakes that you see, because relocating to an area versus just being local and moving neighborhoods, completely different process. What are some of the common mistakes that you see buyers making in this transition?
Yeah.
And how do they avoid them?
Probably first is moving too quickly and not getting all the information that you need. It's important. Again, you're spending a lot of money. It's important to be where in an area that fits your home or fits your lifestyle. And moving too quickly can again put you in a situation that you may not be able to get out of for a few years.
Got it. So Barry, working with a Realtor. In any situation, there's areas of expertise that might be important depending on what you're needing. And in this situation, we're talking about relocation. How important for a buyer that's going through a relocation to work with a Realtor that has expertise in this arena, and what things would set you aside from a traditional broker that's not working with relocation clients on a regular basis?
I think one of the biggest things, again, is getting a broker that knows the region. Somebody specializing just in condominiums in Seattle, that's great if you know you want to live in a condominium in Seattle. If you don't, then you really need somebody with some broad expertise, some broad knowledge of the area. I think the broker needs to have more patience. They need to have empathy. They need to understand what the buyer is going through.
Yes.
All the stresses. They've got often they have families.
Kids
to move.
don't want to move to another state. They want to stay where they're at.
Yep, and again, they're under a lot of pressure. They're very busy, and in this marketplace that's very frenetic, it creates additional stress.
Yeah.
And when somebody comes into the marketplace and you're telling them, well, you've got to look at this home today, and then you've got to make an offer tonight. Very, very stressful, very difficult, and not always the best. Not always the best advice.
Yes. Now, we talked about common mistakes that happen. I'm sure there's some common challenges and that people are dealing with when they're relocating, maybe challenges of what their expectations are, or challenges that come into the process they're not prepared for. What would be some typical challenges that are special to their process?
Well, there is no national real estate market. Every market is unique. Every neighborhood is unique. The market for Queen Anne is different than the market for West Seattle. And so certainly the market in Arkansas is going to be different than the market in Seattle. And the expectations, in your marketplace, in our marketplace in Arkansas, where maybe the average market time is 180 days, coming to Seattle, where the average market time might be 15 days. That's a huge difference, and it's important to set your expectations, realistic expectations. So you need to understand the market conditions that you're moving into, and it's good to know that up front.
So just like everything else we talk about is preparation. So find out what for upfront things that you need to know. Things are going to be different in this market versus your market. Now, what about questions and things that they should be asking themselves, or what's that they should be looking at and considering? The Seattle market. You have a list of questions that they should be thinking about? Sure.
I mean, I would, if I were moving to Seattle or another market, I would want to know the overall landscape of real estate. What's happening? Is people moving into the area? People not, moving out of the area? What's going on with home prices? I'd also want to understand the local real estate contract. Real estate contracts are different.
Great point.
Different in every area.
Sometimes people are surprised that they don't sign on closing. You know, I mean, that's surprising to people. They're used to just signing and closing same day.
Absolutely. Some places attorneys handle the contracts and the closings. All of that's you know, in order to feel comfortable when the time comes to write an offer, which is another stress. You know, the more you know up front, the more comfortable you are with the contract, the better it is for you. A good lender is important, and often a local lender rather than a lender that they may be familiar with. They may have a bank account.
Yes.
I know in our marketplace, when you're dealing with multiple offers, often the lender that you're using can
make or break it.
Can be a real issue and can be a deciding factor as to who gets the contract.
Yeah, good point, Barry. I tell my clients that every day. It's that, you know, the loan officer, the mortgage professional on that pre-approval letter can make or break based on their local reputation. Barry, thank you so much for joining me in studio. I had a great conversation with you, and excited to have you back in studio, and we'll have to partner up and get the entire team in here.
Great. Would love to do it.
Perfect. This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Cheers to a new year, and it's never too late to plan for the best financial year yet. So we're there. We're in year 2016. So use myself and the show as a resource. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I look forward to talking more money next Saturday right here on 1150 AM KKNW.